Hi, everyone. I'm Eric Lowe, the Industry Partner Program Manager here at ASID. We are delighted to have you all with us for today's Partner Spotlight webinar, presented by Programa. The Partner Spotlight webinar series is an ongoing initiative by ASID. It's designed to provide you with the opportunity to interact with ASID industry partners, manufacturers, and industry experts in a virtual environment. Following the presentation, there will be a Q&A session where you can actively participate by typing your questions into the control panel, and I'll read them aloud. Today, we are pleased to have Lexi Gilles, Account Manager, North America for Programa with us. We hope you find this webinar informative and engaging. And now I'm going to pass it over to Lexi to introduce herself and begin the presentation.
Amazing. Hi, everybody. My name's Lexi. Thanks, Eric, for the introduction. On behalf of Programa, thank you all for attending today. We're super excited to be an industry partner with ASID, and we have a really exciting webinar planned for you today, where we're going to be diving into our brand new project management tool set, as well as a bunch of other really unique tools that Programa offers. So a little bit of background on Programa as a company. So we were founded in 2020 in Melbourne, Australia. So that's actually where our head office is located. And we've gone international as a company in the last year or so. So it's expanded very quickly, which is really exciting to be a part of the interior design software industry. So we are actually based in 75 countries around the world so far, with over 8,000 designers on the platform, and about 3,000 of those being in the US and Canada alone. So, like I said, growing very quickly. But something I think that sets Programa apart from a lot of the other competitors in the industry on this side of the world is the fact that, for one of our co-founders, Zoe, is a previous interior designer. And along with all of our account managers on the platform, myself included, we are all interior designers or have some kind of design experience, whether that's working in a studio, owning our own businesses, managing projects, etc. So you know that there's a lot of industry knowledge that's really gone into building the platform. And you can see that across the UI. Everything's very aesthetic and clean. And it just, our mission statement really is to try and streamline your workflows. And as well, you know that whenever you're reaching out to us for customer support, you are engaging with somebody who, one, has industry experience and knowledge, and we're all also genuine Programa users before actually working with the company. So yeah, that's a little background on the business itself. The screen you're looking at here is our agenda for today. So as I mentioned, we're going to be going through our newest project management feature set, as well as I'm going to touch on our specification aspects, a little bit of financials, and then also our client dashboard, which is our client communication side of the platform. Of course, Programa does have quite an extensive tool set, so we won't be able to touch on everything today. But we do have Melissa on the call as well, who is moderating our live chat. So if you do have questions in the Q&A box, feel free to pop those in and we'll answer as many as we can after the call or at the end of this session. And if you would like to book in a personal one-on-one demo with Melissa or myself in the upcoming weeks, we would be very happy to host that with you as well. Alrighty, so that's my little spiel. I am going to go ahead and share my screen and then we'll get started. Amazing. Alrighty, so what we are looking at here is our main Programa page. So this is where all of your live projects would live. You'll see that these rectangles here, these are all your live projects. When you sign up for Programa, you'll have a demo project and then 2 different templates that we've created just based on some standard design projects. So you can duplicate these here to use. On our left-hand side is the navigation bar. So you'll always have your top 5 projects that you're working on consistently. And then we have our tool set here. So those are encompassing of all of the projects, and everything kind of filters back into those tools there. Then we have our libraries down the bottom. And of course, our help center. So we do have a live chat function of customer support as well. Now to jump into, I'm going to go into my Yorkville Loft project here. Okay, so starting off with our project management tab. So you'll notice that when you start a project, this of course is just an example of a project that I've created. So these are all customizable. So depending on whether you're working on residential projects, commercial, hospitality, it is quite customizable depending on the size of your firm, how many team members are working on a certain project. You can customize it that way, edit the names of all of your schedules and your FF&E sheets, and then also set up our pin boards here. That's our mood board presentation tool. And then of course, as I mentioned, schedules is going to be your specification sheets. So you'll have your project file list, and this tab here is our project management. So within project management here, you'll see that there's a couple different viewpoints. So we have a board, a list, and a timeline view. So our board view, that is based on a Kanban style system, meaning that all of your to-do tasks or things that you're working on as a studio or within a specific project are all listed within these boards here. So it's templated as tasks that need to be done, what's in progress, what might need to be reviewed, and what is already finished working on. So if I click onto one of these example tasks that we've set it up here, you'll notice that each task has its status. So you can easily change those statuses or your tasks that you need to work on by in progress, what needs to be reviewed, as I said. Your members, you can assign the task to a specific team member. Your target date essentially is your due date of when you'd like the task to be finished by. Your key date, I'll show you this in a little bit, but this was marking something as a key date would show up on your timeline view in red diamond format. So I usually mark key dates such as site visits, when your presentations are due, when you need your documentation drawings to be finished, things like that. I would turn on your key date. Now the last bit is your phases or stages, depending on what you like to label them. So these are all customizable as well. So if you do have different stages throughout the entire timeline of your project, you can choose where the tasks sit along those phases here. Now I'll have my overall description of what needs to be worked on. And then you can have your subtasks located within that task. And I can comment back and forth to my team members. So other people who are assigned to that task, just saves you from emailing back and forth using Slack, other different types of messaging platforms. All of the communication can be done from within that specific task card. Now the last bit here is your attachments. So for example, if I had my elevations and I wanted to actually update or add my attachment of elevation to this task card, then I can drag and drop that into the attachments folder to be reviewed, for example. Now, moving into, you can drag, I just should mention as well, you can drag and drop these around, which is kind of fun. They'll automatically update. So say I'm done my elevations now, or those need to be reviewed, I'll just drag and drop and pop them over here. Okay, so difference between board view and list view here. Essentially, it's more so just how your brain works. I personally like a list view. I like to see everything that I need to be working on from up and down. If your brain works better in a left to right kind of format, you can pick and choose how you'd like to overview all of the tasks that need to be worked on within that project. Now I'll bring your attention to the right top corner here. It almost looks like a file folder button, which is where you would set up the actual timeline of the entire project. So you can choose whether or not this is a in the planning stage of a project, if the project's active, if it's already completed, etc. Now, start to end date, this is important if you'd like to see them across your timeline view, which is super handy. I'll get to in a minute with our studio view where you can actually compare all of the timelines for all of your projects. So even if it's just a guesstimate of, I think this will be done end of February, you can easily just change your dates here. And I just updated my project. Oops, there we go. Alrighty, so another overview. Again, I can see all the team members that are assigned to this project and how many tasks are actually need to be done to complete the overall project here. Now, those phases I mentioned as well, you can edit them from here. So I can click to add a new phase, or I can edit my existing phases. So I can change the names and update the timeline of that specific phase. Okay, last bit here is our timeline view, which is fantastic for seeing the entire workflow and process along, even if it's a month, a year, a quarter, etc. You can change that down the bottom to get the different views. And all of our key dates along the top here, the years. So those key dates I mentioned earlier, if I drag and drop over the top, or hover over the top, I should say, I'll get the entire date range for the project. And then if I hover over, you'll see on October 16th, I have my client presentation. So I've marked that as a key date. So that's important. It'll pop up in my timeline. And then I can also go back to my studio view, compare all of my important dates, line everything up, all in one place. Okay, so that's my specific project management. I'm using a lot of buzzwords here. You'll get used to them as I'm going through, which is fantastic about Programa too. Everything kind of syncs seamlessly together, but it's quite an intuitive platform in that sense. So I'm going to pop down to the studio view under tools here, which I mentioned, which essentially is going to help you when you're managing multiple projects at one time. To make it a seamless view and transition, we have used the same format and templating from the individual project management tabs to the actual studio view. One thing to note that's important here too is you can filter. So I can filter, say, okay, what do I personally need to see what I'm working on? I can add myself in and it will filter my views. Again, I said I like list view, so I'll go to Lexi's list. This is what I need to do today. Just clear, and you can also filter it by specific project. Just gonna clear those filters, go back. So you can filter between board view, list view, again, by team member, project. So it's great if you do have a project manager who wants to assign everybody's work for the week. You can do that directly from the studio. So you can either do it from each individual project or go right into the project management phases here and just add a new task. So we didn't want to overcomplicate anything. We wanted to keep it very streamlined and clean, as I mentioned before. So this is the blank slate of your tasks. So everything is labeled and descriptive for you to fill out all of your information there. So that's how you would assign a new task. And you can choose the project. So if I am in the studio view and I am doing all of so you have a Monday morning meeting and you want to assign everybody's work for the week, you can do that directly from the studio and then just choose the projects that you are assigning tasks to. Now, timeline view, again, this is just going to show you, I'm going to change this to the year, all of my projects that I have going on. So I have from September to May here, and you can see the different date ranges in comparison, what's overlapping, see if I do actually have capacity for my team to take on another project. And I can collapse them if I don't want to see them. I get an overall view of those tasks in your project. All right, fabulous. So that's the basis of project management. Now, one other element to project management, which is really exciting, is our time tracking function. So underneath the tools here, I'll actually show you back in these cards here is our time tracker. So if I see how it has the stopwatch function, you can actually press that to trigger the timer to start, and that can run in the background while you're working on your specific projects or your tasks, I should say. So you can get very precise, detailed hours on your certain projects. Or if I did want to do this manually, I can go right into the time tracker. And from here, again, will give me an overall view of what's going on in regards to every project. I can filter it to see a specific project. I can see my entries. I can see my team. You can export this to Excel if you did need a line-by-line breakdown of all the nitty-gritty hours that are going into a project. This is handy too, even if you aren't necessarily billing for or invoicing for billable hours. You could use this for just budget planning for the future. When you are tendering for a new project, you need to see how many hours realistically went into a previous project. This is a great place to reference back to. So I'm going to show you, if I click on here, see how I've written Yorkville Loft site inspection. So if I was on site for a couple hours, I wasn't necessarily on my computer doing any type of admin task, I can come in here and just put on my hours. You do have to have a specific card to attach time to, which you can do from the project management boards that I showed you previously. So you just have to select your project and the actual task card, and then you can manually change your time just from the time tracker here. Okay, amazing. That is project management. Now I've gone back into my main projects page here, into my Yorkville Loft project. And I'm going to go into one of my schedules. As I mentioned before, one of Programa's most robust features is our specification tools. So our schedules are very clean and laid out nicely so you can see all of your important specification data. You can get really detailed with all of these specifications as well. As I mentioned, you can set up these schedules depending on whether you're doing more of a residential project and you're doing more furniture and styling, whether you're doing everything from start to finish and you need more hard finishes or plumbing fittings. I usually separate all of my schedules by product type, but really up to you how you'd like to customize these. You would just double click in the headers here, create all of your new sections. That's very easy to use. For example, so I can scroll through, see all of my measurements, my finishes, product name, etc. I can navigate through. If I do have a really lengthy schedule, I can easily just pop down to the bottom. Now in each project, our schedule, if I click on the details tray here, this is going to give you an even more detailed view of your specifications. So I can have all of my product descriptions, your website, where you're sourcing from, and you can have a space for your custom spec notes as well. So you can have up to 10 different custom spec spaces. These, again, you can just write whatever you need in these boxes, your important note information, and any other specs or notes here. Internal notes, of course, is going to be just for your internal team, where everything else is exported out onto PDF documents or onto our live link schedule versions. Now you'll see if I click this download PDF button, you can generate a really beautiful templated product sheet. So essentially what this does in a click of a button takes all of your specification information and spits it out into a really nice document. That's one way to do it. Another way to share all of this important information, either in the click the three dots in the top right corner here, and you can export as PDF. So it'll give you an entire finished schedule here. You can also export to Excel if needed. But one of the fantastic parts about Programa is the fact that everything is done on a cloud-based software, meaning that you can share live link versions of all your specification schedules and your pin boards, and then everything is updated in real time. So if you do share these live links with your contractors or with your clients, and you do make a change, it will be updated in real time, meaning that you don't need to download a PDF version of something every time you make a change to one product. So you'll see it says it's updated 3 hours ago. They can go through, this is the live version that I'm showing you here now. So again, has all of your summary spec information. They can still go into the details, read all of that important information that you've spent hours of time putting into. You can download attachments from here, and all of the information will be generated across to all of the stakeholders that are in the project. Now you'll notice I put little flags in orange here. I do often get asked, well, how do they know if I've made a change on my project or I've respecified something? I usually suggest to add a flag to those products. Now this live link version, the summary view that I just showed you, also has a QR code button, which is fabulous. So the QR code, the idea is print this off, you can put it on site, then everybody who comes to site can scan it, they'll have access to your live schedules. So once you've generated the QR code, you don't need to print it out again. That live link is always updated constantly. Okay. The financial view. As I mentioned, we got summary view, we have financials, which is going to help you easily keep track of all of my costings. So we have our trade price. I got my taxes, which you can set at a project level, my trade discounts, pricing, and you can easily add markups to products. So I just toggled on turn markups. Then you can add in your markup percentages or your profit that you'd like to earn, which will then auto calculate it backwards for you and generate this client price total. So when you are sharing the live linked versions of these schedules, only your client price is going to show up. So you don't need to worry about sharing your markup and trade price versus retail price. Everything is discretionary to you, which also gives you the ability when you're sharing to toggle on and off certain things. So you can hide your supplier, you can hide the brand, etc., of where you're actually specifying products from. Now, with that being said, one of our handy tools here is our Programa web clipper. So this is a Google Chrome extension that you can add to your toolbar that is used for specification. And how that works is on any website here. I'll do a quick example. Say I wanted to specify this tab here. If I open up my web clipper, it'll auto clip to schedule. I can then right click to clip an image. And the information I'd like to add to my specs or my schedule, I'm just going to highlight it. So this black box pops up and I'll easily select where it's going. So say that's product name, it's my description, brand, price, etc. So in a couple clicks, I can do a specification without having to manually write in any information, which is fantastic. We love that. I can always type in this box too if I need to change anything. Obviously, I do this 100 times a day, so I make it look quite easy, but I promise you it is easy as it looks. So I'm scrolling through, select everything I want. You can also use these plus buttons to select dimensions and those pesky product download sheets, the extra PDFs that we have to keep track of. If you use this attachment button and then just select the PDF, it'll actually pull the documents for you. So then you don't have to re-download them, save them to another folder, keep track of those. Everything, again, is all in one place. So once you're happy with all that information, you just click this clip button, select a project that you'd like to assign it to, and then whatever schedule you'd want that to go into. So say fittings and bathroom. Once it goes green, you know you're good to go. And then that will auto-populate back in your schedule. On this web clipper as well, if I click this drop-down menu, you can clip it to a product library. So we do have a lot. So you can either build out your product library of frequently used products that you're using, or you can clip it right to a schedule, or do both. You have the option. So say I wanted to clip it to a product library after, I'll just change that and then clip it again. Okay, easy peasy. Alrighty, now I'm going to go into our client dashboard side of things. So this is our client facing side of the platform, which is all linked to our schedule. So I always tell people schedule is kind of the heart of Programa. Everything is linked from your schedule, whatever product information or important information, financials, etc. It's all linking from these schedules. So our client dashboard, your procurement, your purchase orders, your invoicing, it's all pulling its important information from whatever you're inputting into your schedule. Now that's important. I say that because you'll notice that each product, one has a status attached to it. So you can use this for internal use, keeping track of what you need to reselect, what is being ordered in production, delivered, etc. for procurement aspects, but also this button here for client review. So if I do mark my products to client review, that automatically updates, and then that's going to trigger. So again, I'm going to click this share button at the top. And instead of publishing to web that I showed you before, we're going to publish it to the client dashboard. Really easy to do. Just add in your client's email address. I say client, it could be a contractor, it could be an architect, whoever's involved. You could just add in their contact details. And then again, you can toggle on and off who can get approval or who approves the products. They just receive an email from you with a link to the dashboard and a link to the schedule that you're sharing. They don't necessarily need to make a user account or a password or anything like that. We don't want to overcomplicate it for your clients. So what I'm showing you here is our client dashboard view. So this is, you can edit this with your custom cover image, your logo. I have my live schedules here. So basically you still have control over what you're sharing with the clients, just based on whose email address you're adding to this dashboard. So I can share all of my live schedules, making it really easy to have everything in one place. Then I have my pin boards, which is our mood board concept boards. And again, down the bottom is shared files. So that's any external documents to Programa. If you did want to upload any construction plans, invoices, contracts, things like that, that you still want the client to have access to, you can upload those to your dashboard. Now you'll notice here on these ones, my schedules says feedback required. So if I click on that, this allows your client to again see and read specification data if they want to, or you can change this to be in presentation mode. So it's a little bit more visual and easy to digest from a client perspective. Then they'll also trigger to this approval and feedback tab, as I mentioned. So from here, you can essentially use this as your proposal. So I can propose a bunch of different products. I can propose a bunch of different finishes. You can even label these as option 1, option 2, option 3, and then get them to choose which one they like. If I do click approve, it prompts them for feedback. And same with the rejections. So it does say, please share your reason for rejecting this product, etc. So once they leave you feedback, say they say, I don't like this color, whatever the reason may be, it's too expensive. Submit, or I can do them all at once. Reject all, approve all. If they approved all at once, wouldn't that be happy days? We'd love that. Now, all of that information would filter back into your live schedule too, with all date stamped, time stamped, and you can see the person who's actually approved it for a little bit of version history as well. Okay, so that's the client dashboard. Just fantastic. Sorry, I'm just trying to find my tab. There we go. Okay. So this approvals tab here, see how it's gone orange? Then you know that things have been marked for approval. It's all, like I said, date stamped, time stamped, and you can read their comments here and just mark it complete once you've acknowledged it. Okay. Fabulous. I'll just bring your attention lastly to the couple of fantastic features in our schedules is our quoting option. So you can do your bulk quotes to get different pricing and quoting from different vendors. You can do it all in one click. So I can select multiple vendors. Essentially what it does is pulls all of the suppliers that you've listed here. So those all go into your address book. I can select as many as I want. And then when I do my quoting, you can do it individually as well by clicking this quote button. Or like I said, select them all at once. And then I can say, hey, can I have a quote for the following products? Sends them out an email. Then they just respond back to your quote request via email. So it saves you from typing out an email. Can I have a quote for this product and this product and this product? It's all already done for you. So we love efficiency around here. Okay, cool. Last little bit. As I said, specifications definitely the most robust feature. Everything's connected here. So we have our procurement tab. I'm not going to dive too deep into that today because some studios do procurement, some don't. So we can always go over that with you in the future and the invoicing and purchase orders side of the platform. But that you do have that capability directly from the schedule. So you can turn on procurement on and off, which then allows you to have this separate tab here to keep track of all of your important procurement dates. With the handy filtering tool, I usually will go through my approval process, send everything to that client dashboard, mark it as approved, or they mark it as approved, I should say, but I'll filter my schedule. And then I can go through and do all my ordering once I've done that proposal and approval process. Lots of different functionalities in here. Again, you can easily duplicate your projects. So if you want to reuse products or reuse an entire schedule, you can bulk select multiple products, action them, add them to that product library, export them to a document, or copy them into a new project. I can generate my purchase orders from here. And again, copy the entire project or schedule into a new project. Alrighty, so I am going to leave it there for now, as we've kind of touched on the key points of Programa. Obviously, we have a ton of other tools here on the side. I just didn't go over our invoicing and kind of financial side of the platform and procurement. But as I said, we would be more than happy to book in a one-on-one demo session with you in the future, and we can kind of customize the demo a little bit more to suit your studio. And I'd be happy to answer all of your questions, and we can do Q&A now, actually, down in our Q&A box. So if anyone has any questions, feel free to pop them in. And now up on the screen is also our QR code. So if you want to scan that, it's going to take you to our Programa dashboard or website. So because you are an ASID member, we're more than happy to offer you a 30% discount on all of our annual plans. And Melissa and I are also happy to discuss pricing with you and your team after this call, but I would suggest scanning that QR code, signing up for our free trial, booking in a demo, and we can discuss Programa in more depth.
Great, thank you for the presentation. As Lexi mentioned, we're now going to proceed to the Q&A session. If you have a question, kindly utilize the Q&A button located at the bottom of the platform's control panel. And now for our first question. Lexi, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Could you share what the schedule by room looks like?
Schedule by room. Yes. All right. Eric, are we able to share my screen again?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, perfect. So because I said earlier, you can do everything customizable. So if I go back to the schedules here, a couple different ways to do it. As I said, I usually do mine by product type. And then I'll write the location of the product underneath in the product details here. So I see I have kitchen, laundry, you could have ensuite, etc. And then I'll go filter by product details and then type in the room that you'd like to see a room view for. So then you can do both. You don't necessarily have to break them up. Click enter. Then that would give me a room view. So see, I can see all of my products that are in the kitchen. So from here, I can then select products and export a PDF if I just wanted a list or a document with the kitchen products, which will give me a total of everything for the kitchen as well. Otherwise, the way you can do it, let's clear my filter here. See how I've labeled these headers by room? So I have bathroom, or if I do ensuite, and you could do kitchen. So instead of labeling your headers as basins and sinks, for example, just set them out by room type, each header section. Okay.
Perfect. Next one here. Does this integrate with QuickBooks? And if so, can you explain how easy it is?
Yes, of course. We do integrate with QuickBooks. That is all done up into your account settings here. So I just went up into the top left-hand corner into settings. Then you have all these different tabs. And in the invoice section here is where your integrations live. So I have Stripe, Xero, which is another accounting platform, or QuickBooks. So all you would do is click connect to QuickBooks, and it takes you to your QuickBooks login page, which then integrates them together. So it's a one-way sync from Programa to QuickBooks. So in short answer, quite simple to set up.
Terrific. And Melissa, we're going to answer these live if you want to hold off on typing any answers to these questions. Next one, can you change the language? Could I have Programa in French, for instance?
Absolutely. So again, in your organization settings, this is where you would set up your logo. I'll have my location, and then you can change your country here. So because we are an international company, we have all of the different languages and countries and your currencies. So in your projects, if you're doing your schedules and things, you can choose the currency per project.
Terrific. And next one, are users able to upload digital design files to their project on Programa?
Digital design files. Yes. Short answer is yes. I guess in that instance, I usually ask people, is this design files that you want to keep internally, or if you're sharing them to the client, I would do that. If you see I'm hovering over the settings page here, on the client dashboard tab, down the bottom is a space for shared files. So I usually upload my design documentation there, so the client has access to it. You can also attach them. Say I'm working on some elevations and I want them attached to my actual materials and finishes schedule that they correlate to. I'll go to the three dots here and click attachments. So then you can upload plans onto there. The last option is within the project management tab that we went through in the beginning, where you could add a card, see the ground floor plan, and then have your attachment or documentation linked there.
Alrighty, we have a time for just a couple more. Next one, would love to see what the email looks like. Does it go into my inbox after I send?
And the quote request emails. Yes, let me just, should have had one pulled up. So this is the quote request version. It'll have your logo on here. It'll have the supplier's name from your studio name, whatever note you said. So here, hello, can I have a quote for the following? It'll list out all of the products that you are sending a quote for. And then the supplier can click on to the products to get all the details here. And then down the bottom, it'll say reply to quote request. So yes, it goes to your email inbox, reply to quote request here.
All right, terrific. Last one here, and then I'm going to go back to the discount code. There's a few people looking for that.
Okay.
Is there any way you can upload floor plans and or blueprints to make quick notations or changes for your team or client?
Just in the same ways that I just showed previously of where to attach all of the documentation drawing, there isn't necessarily a PDF viewer or annotating aspect built into the platform. So you would have to download your documentation and just add your revision dates onto those files.
All right, terrific. On behalf of ASID, I'd like to extend a big thank you to Programa, an industry partner of ASID. A recording of the event will be sent to you in the coming days. Please don't forget to complete the survey at the end of the webinar. We hope to see you again at the next ASID Partner Spotlight webinar. Thank you.